Hi, this is Jay with Pryor Consulting. Thanks again for joining me. These videos are designed to help you navigate the gender nonconforming and transgender world of business and hopefully not step in it and say the wrong thing. That's part of my goal, is to help you in that way. So I want to talk about dead names today. There's an article recently that came out where a young person was graduating from high school and the school refused to use their new name. They would only use the name that is on their birth certificate, which to some transgender people is considered their dead name. And so I want to make sure you understand what that phrase is and how to approach that. When I was coming up, that name nobody really used that. I hadn't heard that. It's recent, within the last 10 years anyway. And it essentially means the name I had before I transitioned, right, is my dead name, like that I'm dead, like that person is dead. Now most of these people who have a dead name are not going to live in the middle. They're not gender nonconforming for the most part. They're like full on, it's dead me, and then I'm a whole new person. And that's real important to them. Like, that name for them really is, they consider it dead to them. I don't have that experience. My birth name was Janet. You can call me anything but late for dinner most of the time. So I don't get offended by anybody, referring to my former name. And you shouldn't. Even if you know somebody's former name, like if there's a way around you not using that with a trans person, then don't do it. And in your companies, here's the thing. You have to have HR people who can have these conversations with people and be clear that they can call them by the name that they want to be called. This is so important. If you have an HR person that is cantankerous or belligerent or defensive or in any way cannot handle this conversation, you need to make sure that they don't do this job. Your HR person that handles people who are transgender and their name and the sensitivity around their name and their pronouns has to be informed, right? It has to be somebody who is easy to be with and light and friendly and like safe, right? That person has to be safe. And so you want to make sure, right, it's HR's job, right, to make sure that this person, like when I was coming up, my check read Janet Pryor. I mean, they wrote a check to Janet Pryor. My insurance was under Janet Pryor. Nobody at that office knew my name was Janet, right? Nobody. And that was because the HR department and, they introduced me as Jay. No one ever knew my name was Janet unless I told them that, right? And so that level of confidentiality has to be assured with people if they're going to come and work with you, and they're going to feel safe, and they're going to be creative, and they're going to have, an opportunity to really be fully self-expressed. So dead name, that past name, needs to only stay with HR, right? And you've got to keep that confidential. You've got to make sure that you have those kind of policies and procedures in place. You may need to, a trans person may even need help navigating insurance, right? So you look at me, right, and my insurance is female, okay? I still have female parts that I have to have checked out, okay? So it's important that I have a F on my insurance, because when I get a pap smear, it needs to get cleared, right? So I have to have an F on my insurance, but when I call my insurance company and I sound like this, they're not always the most helpful. So sometimes, I've had a lot of support in my life, right? I have a great family, and I have a wife who will make calls for me and pretend to be me and all this stuff, right? But not all trans people have that kind of support. And if you're having them, this is part of their job, and they're working with you, they may need help navigating this. So I just want you to have that, again, just the whole point of these videos is to have you conscious of some of this stuff that we deal with, and that's definitely one of them. And to, this younger generation who considers that their dead name, it's even more sensitive, I think, right? Because for them, they figured you all should have this figured out by now, right? And they don't get that we're just starting to figure this out, right? And that for some of us, it's all new. And to them, we're just being belligerent, right? They think we should have it figured out. So I want you to have this on your radar. I want you to understand what the term dead name means. And I want you to be sensitive, as best you can, to helping your employees navigate that. So I hope that makes sense to you, and I hope it was helpful. Have a great day.